Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, punters of all ages, welcome back to the Mock Sports presents the Quaddie Poddy. Cashy, joined by Nico. We are live from the Magic Millions Sale Complex. Forgive us if our voices sound a little low. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see why. There are plenty of horses coming around, getting ready to be sold. We don't want to spook them. But Nick, it's been a great week so far. How are you, mate? How have you been enjoying the week?
It's good, mate. We're up bright and early. It's 6:30, and got in here early to try and get some recording done. So inside one of the little parade rings. It's been awesome so far. Got some great content and got some more coming. Really excited for the race day on Saturday and ready to go into it.
Yeah, been really good so far, punters. For those of you who don't know, we're up here. We're recording a lot of content, not only for ourselves, but for our sponsors over at Stridyl. So thank you to them. They are the sponsor of this episode as well, of course, as you would have heard at the top of the show. Basically, Nick, we're here to show people our age that it's not that hard to get involved, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty easy when you look at syndication and stuff. The way it's made out to seem is you need a lot of money to buy a racehorse, and it costs a lot in fees and stuff. But with syndication in different ways and through Stridyl, we show you that you really don't need a lot of money. You and your mates can get in together and put in as little as $300, $400, and you can buy a small percentage of a horse and still have the same amount of fun. So and they do all the hard work for you as well. So check out some of those videos. Big thank you to Stridyl.
100%. We've always been in group chats going, boys, we need to buy a horse. I know we got really close that one time, but we ended up giving up because we decided it was too hard, because we didn't actually know that we didn't need the hundreds of thousands of dollars that the horses go for here at the sales. We can just go through syndication. We can all chip in $100 each and just buy 1% of a horse. It's just as much fun owning 1% as it is 10%. But as I'm sure you've discovered, being in a syndicate yourself and with Cheerful Legend, you might not own huge amounts of the horse, but you can still get down to the races and cheer him on. That, mate, gee, boy, it's very hot up here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's warm. It started off pretty gloomy, but sun's coming out nicely. Went down to the beach this morning, so can't complain when you're right next to the beach. But it's good. I'd much rather it this way, to be honest. I know you were sweating a lot yesterday, but I was pretty good. But we've met some pretty cool people up here as well. Met some cool trainers as well. Nathan Doyle sat down with us. He was on one of our tables when we were at the sales for a little bit. So he's a pretty cool guy, and some other ones as well, which is pretty cool. But still a long way left in the week, and hopefully we can get you guys some more content.
Yeah, we were told it's the hottest place on earth before coming up here. I didn't believe them, but now I definitely do. Again, those of you watching on the YouTube, usually I'd be wearing a hat. You're like, why isn't Cashy wearing a hat? Cashy's the hat guy. Well, I sweat through my hat. I'm a very sweaty human, and then yesterday, sun came out, and I was sweating absolutely bullets and completely sweated through the hat, so I'll have to go buy a new one today. But it's been really, really cool. So keep tuned to the socials, at the Mock Sports on Instagram, at the Mock Sports Pod on TikTok, because there's still plenty of content to come out around buying a horse, because guys, it's time to get out of the group chat, buy yourself the horse of your dreams with Stridyl today. But mate, let's get stuck in to what the Quaddie Poddy is all about. It's about making some tips, but first, as always, we'll start with the listener questions. First one, Henry Bear, not more of a question, but more of a statement. How good the boys are back.
Yeah, we're back. It's good to be back. Good to get some work done and stuff like that. We had a good break over New Year's and stuff. Shout out to the boys that saw me over at Lost Paradise. Shout out to them. But it's good to be back. Big shout out to Henry, big follower. I love him.
Yes, we're looking forward to being back. Quaddie Poddy this week, of course, for Magic Millions. But then once Autumn Carnival comes back, it'll become a weekly occurrence again. Also, keep your eyes on the socials, because to celebrate the fact that we're at Magic Millions, we will be setting up a tipping comp. It was supposed to go live last night, but there was a bit of technical difficulties, but it should be going live sometime today on the Thursday. So if you're watching this Thursday, Arvo, Friday, or even Saturday morning, click that link in the show notes or go to our socials and find it. Win cash prizes, see if you can out-tip us and take home some money. Simple $10 entry, and then you can take over half the pot if you come out on top. So keep an eye on that. Now we move on to Bailey Hines. He's got a couple of questions. He wants to know, is this our full-time job?
No, it's not. As much as we'd like it to be, it's probably not where it needs to be at the moment in terms of getting money. But no, it's definitely a good little side hustle, and we both definitely enjoy doing it. But no, it's not our full-time jobs.
It's definitely the dream. But I mean, in podcasting, it's hard to make a living out of it. But you know, there's definitely ones that can. You see the Hello Sport boys, bloke in a bar, doing friends. They're the top of the top. Then you see some others start to trickle down and make some money out of it. But yeah, it's the dream. But currently, just a side hustle. He also wants to know thoughts on us getting other experts on as guests to give their tips.
Thoughts on getting other experts? Sorry. Yeah, no, it'd be good. It's just teeing that up. Obviously, we have our studio out in Bella Vista, so we've got to try and tee it up and make sure that they're available because we always record at the same time every week.
Yeah.
And whether it be a call-in, it's definitely something we're looking into. But yeah, we're definitely not going to say no to it. We'll see how it goes in the future. We'll say a potential.
Yeah, we definitely love having a chat to them. We're always talking to them, but whether or not getting them on the podcast, we've never really considered it, but that's something we can look into if you want to see that punters come autumn. Maybe even for the championships, a little special for the championships. We can get a bunch of experts on, giving us our tips. But we move to Anthony Royd. He wants to know, what is our favourite lots been so far? Any away from the big buys or just the big buys?
To be honest, Anthony, I had no idea about inspections or anything and couldn't tell the difference between horses too much.
That's half the reason we're here, to learn that sort of stuff.
We're here learning all that kind of stuff, so I can't tell you what my favourite lot's been really in particular. There've been some good ones that we've looked at, but at the end of the day, to me, I know I'm still learning a lot, but yeah, I couldn't remember.
What was the one last night that sold for big money? You said just looked like a pure athlete. Was it I Am Invincible out of something?
That doesn't take a genius to work that out. It's a $1.9 million horse that sold, so I won't go and claim that.
I mean, it's probably going to go for big money, but I'm looking forward to seeing this afternoon. I know the full sister to In Secret's about to go through the ring, so a lot of the time you'll see punters, the half sister, half brother, because they're from the same sire or from the same mother. You know, it's not as often that you'll find the full sister or brother of a horse, especially not a really good horse like In Secret. I know the full brother or sister to I believe it was Sunline. Don't quote me on that, but I remember last year the full brother or sister something went for massive amounts of money.
Yeah, you say that, but then you see Coolangatta's full sister yesterday and they went for $800,000. So
yeah, true, but I do expect In Secret's 500,000 plus at least, considering what In Secret's been able to do at the races.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I don't think that's a lot of money at these sales. I think I'd say the median at the moment is about 400,000, and then you get to your top ends at 800 and above. I'd say 800 is probably the lower of the upper region, but
we've had about 6 or 7 million plus so far. No, 2 million plus. It's a very expensive
sale, that's for sure. But as we head into the later books book tour and stuff, I heard it gets a lot cheaper and a lot more bearable.
So we'll move to B. Wanless. He wants to know thoughts on Golden Boom's chances. Later on, we'll probably touch on that.
Yeah, we'll touch on that a bit later.
But he also wants to know, what's our favourite style of horse with their running pattern, i.e. do we like leaders, midfield, back markers? What are your thoughts there, Nick?
It definitely depends on track condition and what track it's playing at. Moonee Valley, for example, great leading track. If they're running at Moonee Valley, if they're a leader, it's obviously a good sign. Obviously it comes down to track condition, if it's a good soft or heavy. Obviously back markers can't get a lot of ground made up if it is very, very wet, so it all definitely comes down. Favourite style of horse I'd like to say is the back marker. I think it's the most entertaining to watch if you're going to put it like that, but it all depends. For a tipping point of view, it all depends on the conditions.
I'd agree that across the board it ranges from day to day, but if you were to take the smack bang average out of it, the horses that I back the most, it's usually those off-pace horses. So not the on-pace leaders, those off-pace, the ones that sit just behind them, because I really think that's the place to be on most tracks. You know, across the country, all tracks have their certain biases. Like Nick said, Moonee Valley, usually leaders are the ones that get the most bias. And then when you go to your Randwicks and your Rose Hill, depending where the rail position is in the weather, it can mean any number of things. But usually if you're up on the pace or just off the pace, really stalking those leaders and getting in that slipstream of the ones that are really pushing forward and setting a strong pace, usually you're in that right sort of spot to be able to try and stream past them in those final 300, 200 metres. So usually that's my most common backed horse. So then we also got Daniel Horro to finish off. What's something we've learnt this week?
In particular for me, I thought coming here, I was a little bit nervous with obviously the racing industry, it comes along as a very high prestige, very
Closed off.
kind of business, and I thought not a lot of people would be willing to talk to us and stuff, but everyone's been lovely so far. I think what I've learned is even trainers they're just normal people that are doing a day-to-day job, and they're happy to talk to you if they're not too busy. Like we've sat down and talked to heaps of them, and they're honestly just normal people, and they're normal blokes that are just doing their job and love a beer and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool like that. It's probably something I've learned is it's not as high end as I expected it to be.
I've learned more when it comes to the composition of a horse. The old fetlock and ankle bone stuff. I never really knew. Obviously, ankle bone down on the ankle, but I didn't know where a fetlock was, or where a pasture was, or what a wither was. So when we went around and had a look at those inspections with some of the syndicates, they were teaching us what to actually look for. Hopefully you can still hear me, punters. There's a bit of cleaning going on in the background with a lawnmower and a blower. But if that's come through, just the composition of a horse. Like you look at a horse in the yard and stuff, and you actually don't know what you're looking for. Most people will bullshit you and say they know exactly what they're looking for. Not a lot of people know what they're looking for. But so learning now what you actually look for in a strong horse, I'm glad I know that going forward. Hopefully that makes my punting a little better and I'm looking at them in the yard. Alright mate, before we get into the tips, of course, if you're listening to us, you're liking what you're seeing, you're liking what you're hearing, subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, follow on Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. We really got those up in the spring and it really helped us grow, get us into the ears and the eyes of new people, because the more you guys recommend us, the more the platforms are going to recommend us to other people who have never heard of us. So it'll pop up on their home pages going, this is something you might like, and then we'll pick up some new viewers from there. And the more viewers we get, the better things we get to bring to you punters, like being here at the Magic Million. So if you're listening, make sure to rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts 5-star and give us a subscribe. And Nick, of course, shout out to our good friends at Dabble. Over 26,000 punters are following us on the Dabble app now, and you can just copy our bets with a single button, mate.
Yeah, Dabble's easy like that. So any bets that we put up here in the Magic Millions, you can copy it with one bet, put it into your bet slip, and then choose your own stake, which is pretty cool. Dabble's good like that. We love Dabble. Thank you, Dabble. Follow us at the Mock Sports on the app. 26,000 punters are following us on there. Click the link in the show notes as well when signing up. Use the code MOCKSPORTS to let them know that we sent you.
Yeah, beauty, mate. All right. So the track is currently a soft 7 up here on the Gold Coast, but the sun was shining brightly yesterday and it's shining brightly today and expected to do so tomorrow as well, which means that it'll probably dry out. Even then, with the rain last week, I think Gold Coast copped a ridiculous amount of rain and it still drained to us good 4. That's how good the new renovations have been there after the disaster of last year. It got rained out last year and they decided, no, that's not happening again. Let's renovate. And they've been able to renovate it absolute beauty. Some say it's got some of the best drainage in the world. So I'm expecting a good 4 come the start of race day, but there will be some rain on race day, depending how much. We'll see if we tip into the soft 5, soft 6 range, but I'm expecting very much so to start on a good track. The rail is also out 2 metres from the 900 metre mark to the 400 metre mark, true for the remainder. So I think it'll probably play mostly even, but if it starts to get wet and those horses start to spread across the track, not as wide as Randwick punters, so there won't be as much room for those back markers to try and find gaps if they're getting off the fence, so just be wary of that. Race 1, 1200 metres, let's get stuck into it, mate. The favourite is really hard to go past here, considering he's only missed the trifecta once in 10 career starts, but the fact it's coming off 3 straight wins, you see very little wrong with its chances. But mate, considering this is the Country Cup, it's kind of like the Magic Millions version of the Highway, I want to look for value. So this favourite can easily get up with a leg in the air, but I want to see if I can find value for the punters here. So I'm going to go Circular Ritty. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's at $16. It really stands out to me. Should absolutely tuck in behind the pace. Like I said earlier, those are the horses that I really like to back. I think he'll look really dangerous late, especially if that track dries out as I expected and starts in that good range, because he really likes those rock hard decks. So it's $16 to win, $4.80 to place. Circular Ritty for me in the first at Gold Coast.
Very nice, mate. I'm going to go with Let Me Let Go, $12 and $3.80. last 5 starts has not missed a quinella, and 3 of them have been wins. 1 last start at the distance at Rockhampton. Should be nice again. If it stays at that soft track, it is decent on that soft track, so that'll be for me in the first.
Lovely stuff. Surely a winner to kick off the Magic Millions there, punters.
Hope so. Race 2, we've got the 1,000 metre 2-year-old debut fillies, and this is a race I'll be sticking away from a punting point of view, as debutants are very, very hard. Dominetta is probably going to be my tip at $4.20. It's had 2 trials at Randwick, the third and the first one, so you can look into it as much as you can, punters, but I'll be sticking away from this one personally, but I'll go with Dominetta.
Call me an idiot, but I'm actually really keen to bet into this race, despite the fact that they're all debutants, they're all 2-year-olds. It's very, very unpredictable, but I mean, Too Darn Lizzie, the favourite. So not only am I keen to bet into it, I'm keen to bet into the favourite. The reason being, we've been here, Daniel Horror asked what's one of the things we learnt this week. One of the things I learnt is that apparently this horse is an absolute jet. Every single person that I've asked about just Gay Waterhouse in general, they've all said that Too Darn Lizzie looks like an absolute jet, ready to go, head to the races, win, and potentially a golden slipper chance. Literally everyone, like, you know, Adrian Bott was talking it up earlier in the week. I've seen a few of the bloodstock agents talking to Gay personally and mentioning Too Darn Lizzie, saying good luck with her on the weekend, because all words out of the camp say that it's one of, if not her best 2-year-old candidate this crop, and that's really high praise considering she's got the favourite in the 2-year-old classic later on in the day, and one of the favourites going into the slipper as well. So if this horse comes out and runs up to expectations, boy oh boy, it could be something very impressive. So $2.80, I'm very keen on Too Darn Lizzie, and I'm hoping people haven't been pissing down my back and telling me it's raining with this horse. But race 3, I'm going to actually go with an early Gay 2-year-old double here in the debut races. Barracuda is another horse that's looked quite strong at the trials, especially his last one. He was beaten comfortably by Highness, but the way he closed off really impressed me. And that's strong form in my mind, considering Highness is one of the leading chances in the 2-year-old classic later on in the day as well. So at $4.50, Barracuda for Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott will be my tip in the third.
That's fair enough. I'm the same. Heading to race 4 for me, 1,300 metres. I was going to go Rothfire here until I drew the absolute car park at Barry 16. I still think it's a decent chance, but I'm going to go with Chinny Boom here. I think $7.50 and $2.50 for a place. Came second last start. Knows the conditions very well if it does get pretty hot. That's what I'm worried about for a lot of horses coming up here. If they're Sydney horses, they're not going to deal well with the heat if it does get a little bit warm, and the humidity as well. But Chinny Boom runs out of Doomden, so should go well. $7.50, $2.50 for a place, if not Rothfire, but drew the car park.
Rothfire would be very hard to beat. He was a moral in the Kingdom Mountain on New Year's Day, I believe it was, or maybe it was the 2nd of January, but ran like it, got up at like $1.70. Deserves to be favourite here, but yeah, 16th barrier, plus 61 kilos. And the next horse is at 55 kilos, so we give the entire field 6 kilos. They'll end the bottom weight until we give them about 10 kilos. But that's why I've gone for Alpine Edge, who is that next horse down in the field, number 2. He's a Magic Millions stalwart. You'll hear me say it a few times. There's a couple of horses that just stand up this time of year. They just love getting up to the Gold Coast for Magic Millions. He, of course, came second in the 2-year-old classic a few years ago. He also won this race last year. So third up here, will be ready to peak. He's had great success at this distance. Like I said last year, he was able to come out and win this race. As long as he doesn't get too far back and he stays within striking distance, he can run over the top of them at $18 to win, $5 to place. That's 2 really big value horses I've gone early on. And if we get them up, oh my God, stick to your screens, punters. You'll see me running down the straight. Very, very happy man. As we move to race 5, this one I'm more of a straight to the point. It's the 2,000 metre mark. It's the sub-zero here. So United will do me. Another Gay Waterhouse horse, but it should be a simple Waterhouse jump, lead, kick, win job. It's $6.50 to win, $2.40 to place each way. Nothing much more to say, really. I just think it'll set a really strong pace and no one will be able to catch it down the straight.
I'm on Beaufort Park here, $26 and $6.50. Going with some absolute value with Tyler. Last start, second place at the mile. Gets another 600 metres, so I'm hoping it will go well. It's going to be up there, but I'm going to give it a chance here. Go a bit of a roughie. Heading to race 6, 1100 metres, the Syndicate. Heard some really good things out of this race, and I'm going to go tip with my mate here, Beetle. Shout out to him. Rubitar, $17 and $4.40. Bjorn's come out and said this is the best Rubitar's looked ever. So It's done well in the past, and with Tommy Berry on board here, it's looking good. Would have wanted Rachel King, who's the usual rider of Rupertar, but obviously she's over in Japan.
She's killing it as well. She's already rode about 3 winners, so
well done to her. But yeah, Tommy Berry on board. It's not much of a downgrade anyway, so I'll go with Rupertar and Syndicate.
Yeah, mate, it's going to have to be 11-11 for me, despite the massive price. He's another one of those horses that I mentioned with Alpine Age. He just sticks his head up this time of year. No matter how bad his form is going into the meeting, he always sticks his head up. He just always switches on for that second weekend in January. Perhaps it's something about that Queensland sun. That's the old saying, something about that Queensland sun. I know he's won plenty of races on Magic Millions, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure he won last year or he came second in this race last year. So $26 to win, $5.50 to place. Another really big value horse that you don't usually see me tip, but 11-11, you can't not back him on Magic Millions weekend, that's for sure. He's moving to race 7, again another one of those straight to the point ones at the 1200 metre mark. The sprint, won this race last year. It's King of Sparta at $1.80. Usually I don't go this short, but I just don't see anything beating him. He's another one, loves Magic Millions weekend. Won the 3-year-old Guineas a couple of years ago when I was on him, that came out last year, won this race. J-Mac booked, shows a lot of confidence. The only other horses I could possibly entertain is maybe Shooting for Gold or Baller, because again, those two love this weekend. But yeah, King of Sparta, he should, if it even stays a touch dry, the only way I'd get concerned about him is if it gets into that soft 6 range, soft 7. But yeah, I can't see him losing. $1.80, he's good enough for me, King of Sparta.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see anything beating King of Sparta at the moment, but I wouldn't be loading on it too much, punters, just out of safety.
Multi-filler.
We're skipping race 8 and 9.
Yes, we'll leave that to end to really unpack the Classic and the Guineas. So take us to race 10, mate.
Yep, the 1400 metre. Really good race, this one. My 4 top chances have all drawn the absolute car park, which is bad, but I'm going to stick with one of them because I think that'll really show the tempo of the race. The 4 best horses, in my opinion, have drawn wide, so they're going to dictate how they're going to bring themselves back into this race. I'm going to go with Raceday here, $4.60. It's always good. It's, again, another Queensland horse, does well up here, is already proven up here. It's good. 2 wins on the trot, looking pretty nice. I'm going to go Raceday. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, Raceday, ex-Chris Waller horse. That was a really expensive buy at the Magic Millions, I believe, and it never really got going in Sydney, but came up to Queensland. Tony Golden took over. Absolute winning machine since. So I think it'll run a really, really good race. Might have to burn a lot of petrol to get to the front from that 20th barrier, but like Nick said, I'm the same. All the main chances have drawn wide, so that should probably take a little bit of the pressure off him in that sense. I'm going to take Tamerlane. I have such a great respect for this horse. He's won me so much money in the past, including 2 weeks ago when Blake Shin gave him an absolute peach. He just sat nice and patient up on the speed and then just burst clear late. And I think if he can get a clear run to get to that sort of position from that 16th barrier, unless he gets trapped wide, if he doesn't get trapped wide and he gets into that pocket, boy oh boy, I think it'll just be a copy and paste sort of run here. So I'm going to take Tamerlane, $7.50 to win, $2.65 each way in the 10th. As we move to the final race of the day, 11 big races on the day, mate. It's going to be big, big, big. So 1,300 metres here, and again, we'll finish off with more of a straight to the point one here. Lady Laguna, been on her countless times in her career, so I won't be getting off her now. J-Mac booked, ready to peak, 3rd up, coming off a win. Tick, 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 that's all I hear. Poised to run a big race at $2.70. She'll get every chance. Lady Laguna to finish off the day with a winner on the Gold Coast for Cashy.
I'm going Miss Hellfire here, another Tyler ridden Snowden trained, $11 and $3.10 for a place. Last start at Randwick, won at the 1200. Gets the extra 100 metres here, but I think it'll go well. So Miss Hellfire for me will be the last tip.
All right, lovely, mate. Let's head back as sort of like a mini tip-off. We'll go the 2 biggest races of the day, the 2-year-old Classic and the 3-year-old Guineas. We were down there on the beach to watch the barrier draw, and there were a few excited faces and there were a few very disappointed faces when they drew their barriers. Some of them drew not at all what they wanted, especially in that 3-year-old race. Some of the leading chances drew very wide. But let's just go through the 2-year-old field, mate. Take us through it.
So you've got Stormboy, you've got Spywire, Parkour, Highness, Wolfgang, Vienna. Of course you asked me to do this when I cannot read. Yep, number 6, number 7, Mishani Hercules, Arabian Summer, Mishani Aloha, Poster Girl, Erno's Cube, Jenny's Meadow, Territory Ash, Mishani Ego, Mishani Express, Shiza Chiquita, Spirited.
Yeah, really good.
I won't be doing that
here.
again.
Yeah, I'll do the 3-year-old one, mate. Most interesting about this race, again, something that might seem obvious, but something again that I learnt up here looking around. Again, might seem obvious, but just my dumb mind never realised all these horses around us, one of them will be winning this race next year. That's the whole purpose of it. These ones, they get bought, they get trained around September, they'll go into work and they'll start running. And yeah, so the fact that we're surrounded by a future 2-year-old classic winner is really exciting. Mate, you know, you got Storm Boy, the favourite. They say he's really good. He looks really good. He's been faultless to date. And like I said, some are saying 2 Done Lizzie is just that much better. And if 2 Done Lizzie comes out and wins, like I expect her to, that could just make Storm Boy look even better, because they say those are probably 1 and 2 with Gay's 2-year-old chances. Spywires looked amazing down in Sydney and then came up and spanked them last week to really make sure he qualified for the race. Parkour, absolute fantastic run a couple of weeks ago in Sydney, but has drawn that 17th barrier. Away from, you know, those 1, 2, 3, 4s, those are my 4 leading chances, guys. You could definitely see a Ruffy get up here. The only other horse out of those first 4 I could maybe see Arabian Summer at $6.50, but I'm going to be on Highness, mate. We saw Highness run at those first 2-year-old trials back in September, and we both were quite impressed with it. I know you more so than me, but still ran really well. Just was a get to the front, click off, job done sort of go, and that's what we really like to see from him. And he's come out to the races since, placed 6 in the Breeders' Plate, less than 2 lengths off the finish, which is really good form. Really shows that he's a nice early 2-year-old type, and won the Wyong Magic Millions as well. So I think you can't go wrong. He's proven that he can get the job done in some high pressure races. So at $6 to win, $2 to place each way. Tommy Berry on board. He loves a good 2-year-old race as well. Happy to take Highness in the 2-year-old classic.
I'm going to go with Spywire here, $5.50 for the win. Its last start coming up to Gold Coast was a real big positive for me, and it definitely changed my mind. I was going to go with Highness as well, but I'm going to go with Spywire.
He was really impressive.
He was very impressive. I know it was a very, very short price, but we'll take it here. So Spywire will be my 2-year-old classic.
All right, mate. We'll move to race 9, the 3-year-old guineas. I usually go pretty well with these. I think I've hit 2 out of the last 3, so let's see if I can go 3 out of the last 4. I'll go through the field this time. Sofrado, Cryosaur, Sovereign Fund, Royal Tribute has the Osmosis form, just saying. Vanquished, Defiant Spirit, Weagle Tiger, Flying Trapeze, VC, Sydney Bowler, Deep Respect, The King, Abounding, Infatuation, Trifling, Sunset Dreaming, Zuphoria, Pure Paradise, Show Me Mercy, Keenan, Glass of Rose, and King of Dubai finishes it off. Mate, who are you thinking and why?
I'm going Infatuation. Is it? How do I say
Infatuation?
It? Infatuation. $13 and $4 for a place. Jamie Carr on board. Another Bjorn horse for me. 2 starts this prep, 2nd place. But I think it'll be good here. A lot of good chances, like you said, have drawn the bad barrier. But I think this is a good barrier. Jamie Carr's been running a lot better than she was probably this time last year. Actually, was she even running this time last year? When she came back, she started off pretty rusty, but now she's back
about 6 months ago, yeah.
That's a good form. So, yeah, that's me in a 3-year-old.
Yeah, Infatuation, I don't blame you, mate. This is a horse that I have a lot of respect for. The record might say only 1 win from 11 starts, punters, but you've got to consider who she was running around with. In her 2-year-old season, she was trying to go for the Golden Slipper, was running around with the top 2-year-old chances. In the spring, she was running around with the best that the 3-year-olds have to offer, so Tiz Invincible, Cylinder, Kimochi, all of those types of horses. So she's probably found her level in a race like this. So definitely can run a good race. I'm going to be on Sydney Bowler. They all say beware the unbeaten horse, and this horse is 3 from 3 in its short career. The only issue, that 17th barrier, like I said, they would have wanted a much shorter barrier, but at $7 to win, $2.50, I'm not seeing a lot of negatives other than that barrier. Really impressed me at Randwick last start. He just sat in a pocket, exploded late down the straight. I reckon he's John O'Shea's ticket back to some really big races. We haven't seen John O'Shea be winning really, really big races in the last couple of years, but I reckon Sydney Bowler can win this, go onto it, and be really dangerous in the autumn and win some really, really strong races. So he'll just have to do it the tough way, considering barrier 17, but as long as Collett ensures he doesn't get trapped super wide, I'm liking that price at $7 to win and $2.50 to place each way. So that'll be my bet in the 3-year-old guineas. All right, mate, we'll just, before we go to the Quaddie and our best bets of the day, have you found anything around the country that's not at the Gold Coast?
I'm having a quick look now. Do you want to go through your ones, mate?
Boston Rocks at Rose Hill, race 9, $2. The boys at Corinda Bloodstock, syndications, Corinda Bloodstock syndications. They couldn't have spoken more highly of this horse. They reckon it'll run really, really strongly, as the price indicates at that $2 price at Rose Hill in race 9. So hopefully it gets up for the boys. They've been taking care of us up here. Also, the Astrologist Flemington race 8 at $6.50. We love that horse here at the Mock Sports. Sorry if you can hear that crow in the background, but the Astrologist at $6.50, absolute Flemington straight special. He just loves it. Like, you know, if he goes around a bend, he's no good, but as soon as you put him down the straight, jumps out of his skin. And then Miracle Spin, Flemington race 9 at $2.20. Those 3 are the only ones I've found around from Gold Coast. I'm focusing mostly on the track we're going to be trackside for as the crow finally starts to fly away. Sorry about that, punters.
Race 3, Flemington, Otago, $1.95. Should win that one, nothing really against it. And then I think it was race number 9, yep, Miracle Spin, $2.10.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
My 2 tips for Flemington around the grounds.
Lovely. So we'll move to the Quaddie before we finish off with our best bet. So in race 8, the 2-year-old classic we've gone Stormboy the favourite, Spywire Nick's tip, Highness my tip, and then Parkour, like we said, those first 4 in the field are the best chances in our mind. Race 9, we've got my tip Sydney Bowler, Nick's tip Infatuation, then the favourite Quaddie and Abounding for a bit of value. In race 10, Tamer Lane, my tip, Nick's tip Zarastro, Far Too Easy, the favourite, and Revolutionary Miss for a bit of value. Then in race 11, my tip Lady Laguna, Royal Merchant, Nick's tip Miss Hellfire, and then Rollinga Beast for a bit of value. $50 gets you 19.5%, as is the go most weeks on the Quaddie Poddy. So Nick, if I was to give you $1 million, magic millions. No. But if you were to have one bet, if you were to pool all your money together and go, you know what, I'm putting it on one horse this weekend, who is it going on?
It's going on Zarastro. I think it's my best bet of the weekend and one I'm most confident on, so that'll be me.
Fair enough, mate. I'm going to go 2 Darn Lizzie in race 2, the debut. I'm going to either look really smart or really silly, but like I said, I've heard nothing but positive things about this horse in the lead up to the race day. They reckon she could be one of Gay's best chances in all the 2-year-old races throughout the autumn, so I'll take their word for it. $2 A-Doubt's my best bet for the day in Gold Coast. Mate, is there anything else that you want to touch on before we head off?
That's all from me. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully we can tip you some winners this weekend. So yeah, thanks for giving a listen.
Yes, so keep your eyes on the social guys, the Mock Sports on Instagram, the Mock Sports Pod on TikTok, and also keep your eyes on the podcast channels because we're hopefully going to be setting up an interview later in the week. We won't say the name just in case it falls through the cracks, but we've all but signed on the dotted line, as they say, for a couple of interviews with some racing personalities that are up here, because anyone's up here, so hopefully we can lock that in and get it out to you sometime next week. But keep tuned, very excited, eh?
Yeah, 100%.
100%, guys, so make sure to give us a 5-star rating, and we'll see ya for the Quaddie Poddy in the autumn time. Get keen.
See you, boys.